Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, the Mullet Man, Travis Hinton. You're watching 5-Star Takes, and I'm here to show you what Mullet Mania is all about. Be sure to tune in now on YouTube.
Previously on 5-Star Takes.
Fuck, man. Good show.
What
Next
the hell
week,
was that?
I was just taking a dab. Next week, we got Tony Deppen for an interview.
And now, episode 16 of 5-Star Takes.
On now?
So I'm just going to come out and say this right now. It's episode 15. It technically hasn't been a full week since we were last on and stuff, but Isaac, you said something at the end of last episode that we're at the next episode, and I don't see Tony Deppen.
I say a lot of things at the end of a lot of episodes, man. You gonna trust me on all of those? Okay, here's the deal.
Well, that'll teach me to trust you.
Yeah, here's the deal. I think it's one of those things that we can just manifest into reality if we just
think really hard.
Yeah. No, let's do it. Let's get Tony Deppen.
Roll the video. Close your eyes. You know.
All right. Hold on a second here. Here we go. I'm gonna roll the video.
I think we can do it. I think we can do it. I nailed it.
Wow.
Isaac, you are a genius, and I can't believe I just said that.
No,
power of imagination.
I'm just committed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac, you know what?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest, Tony Deppen. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Isaac, of course, DDJ and Shane here with 5-Star Takes. Thank you for joining us, man. This is a total honor.
Absolutely.
I know, especially recently myself, Shane's been a huge GCW fan forever. I've been getting into it because, and I think I want to start off, and DDJ's going to ask this question, but I want to start off, and one of the things I think that makes GCW so exciting, and I think it translates to a couple of companies like the main roster at WWE, NXT, is that it seems like everybody there is having a lot of fun. Is that what's going on? Is that a fun place to be?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I always enjoy doing this stuff. I just enjoy talking about wrestling as well.
We do too.
But as far as GCW goes, like I've been there since day one, like legit. When we were primarily a deathmatch company.
Yeah.
But then it would be like me, Joey, and maybe Eli Everfly would be the only non-deathmatch guys. And during that time, I became really close with everybody at GCW, like all the deathmatch guys. And then it started picking up where we were traveling all over the place. And I was just like, wow, I'm traveling the entire world with like some of the coolest dudes in the world. Like I always had a blast. I always looked forward to GCW shows. And like, I just remember wrestling other shows and like after doing GCW shows and going to their shows, I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to do this. Like, it's not fun. Like there's no fun being had. Cause like, I don't know what it was, but because if I don't have fun in wrestling, I don't want to do it. Like that's simple as that. That's when I retire, it's because not because of my body, it's because if I'm not having fun. And I've managed to be with GCW since 2016, and I've been having fun ever since. I love it.
It translates, because it's so contagious watching. It's hard not to have fun. And it just is a vibe that comes out of there. And I think that's what makes pro wrestling so great, is when you can tell everybody from fans to the wrestlers to even the refs are having a good time while they're doing it.
Yeah. So,
hell yeah.
So one of the things I always like to ask when I have a chance and the pleasure of interviewing professional wrestlers is, how did you discover pro wrestling?
Like most people, through my parents, mainly my father.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's been a big wrestling fan for his entire life. His favorite wrestler is George Animal Steel.
Nice.
And I don't remember the exact date or the year because I was very young. I want to say I was 3 years old, so like 1991, when WWF used to run high school gymnasiums still. And my dad took me to a show in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, to where I'm originally from, and they had a house show. And like the only thing that I remember from the entire show, I could not tell you anything about the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we were leaving, and some guy he was walking in front of the car, and he was going real slow, and my brother jumps over the back seat and honks the horn. Guy shoots around, gives us a death stare, and it's Jim Duggan. And we're just like, oh shit. So like that's like my first recollection of wrestling, like that scenario. Like I couldn't tell you the first episode of Raw I watched. I couldn't tell you the first like WWF show I watched or anything. But like that is my first recollection of wrestling. And then after that, it was always just flipping back and forth between all forms of wrestling. Like back in when Raw and Nitro were going head to head, where I was from, the cable channels was TNT was 24 and USA was 25.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like 8 o'clock came Nitro for that hour. Then Raw came on, and that was when it was an hour, and people don't realize that it used to be just an hour.
Yep.
And then 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10, I'd watch Raw, and then I'd shoot back to WCW for the last hour, just constantly. And then for a commercial break, I just jump back and forth.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, I remember those days. You mentioned growing up in Shamokin. What's like what is growing up in like coal country Pennsylvania in the early 90s like, and how did that affect your your drive and your ability to just to get where you are?
So the way you talk, I'm guessing you know something about Shamokin, like you're somewhat familiar with it.
A little bit. I mean, I have family from who lived in that area, not in Shamokin, but sort of nearby in the coal country. And it just, I mean,
What areas? What areas?
I honestly I don't remember what the town was. It was my uncle and my grandmother moved there from New Jersey
Gross.
and lived lived there for like 5 years. And I remember visiting like once or twice, and it was just like it was a vibe like I've never felt before in a town. and it might be different, but it just felt like like a lot of the life had been taken away from the area.
Yeah, you're pretty much spot on. So growing up in Shamokin, when I say there's nothing to do, I literally mean there's nothing to do. We would like the nearest Taco Bell was 35 minutes away. The nearest mall was 35 minutes away.
Wow.
The only thing we had was a Walmart. What we would do for fun is we'd go up to Walmart and walk around all night because we had nothing better to do. It's a really depressed area, and I don't live there now, thankfully, and I'm not trying to shun Shamokin by any means.
No, yeah.
But it's just very poor and crime ridden and drug ridden, and like I have a lot of friends that have passed away because of drugs, and I'm not that old. And now I'm grateful for the past 5 years, 4 years, nobody has passed away, but I've lost friends. Like, so I was 32 when the last time I lost one of my friends due to drugs. So it tells you I lost a lot of friends at an early age due to drugs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And it just does not get any better, sadly. And it just got a lot of give me a lot of willpower to just try to succeed. Like, I never wanted to live in Shamokin after growing up there. Like, my wife's from Shamokin too. We're both from Shamokin, born and raised. Well, I wasn't born and raised. She was. And we just wanted to get out of Shamokin really bad. In 2015, we both graduated college, and we ended up leaving. But also, like, being from Shamokin and coming from nothing makes you fight harder for other things. Like,
Yeah,
that, I feel like that's why. Like, in like I'm a realist, and I get people that make fun of me about my size. 'Cause I'm only 5'9" and 180 pounds, and I get it frequently online. And they're like, "Oh, you're so small. You're this. You're that. You don't look like a pro wrestler." But here I am, and I've been to 9
Yeah.
different countries, and I've been on TV, and I've made a living for a pretty long time doing this. So imagine if I were actually like tall, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, there's
Like
plenty
my-
of people out there who look like pro wrestlers who can't fucking work to save their life.
like
Man,
Yeah.
and it sucks. Like my dad's 6'6".
Holy
Wow.
shit! Jim.
My brothers are 6'1".
Yeah, man. There was something in that fucking water in Shamokin, man.
My mom's 5'1", so that's what I got.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well,
She's
you
5'1".
mentioned, and Isaac, you mentioned about those guys that look like either wrestlers that can't do anything. Most of the people that I'm sure are telling Tony online that oh, you're too small, you don't look like a wrestler. They themselves don't even come close to looking like a wrestler. Those keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
And the
I mean,
thing is that it's like it really doesn't bother me. Like somebody will say something and I'll be like, "Oh, good one," and they're like, "Yeah, I bet you're really upset." It's like, no, actually, I don't care. I really don't, because like one of you, people don't realize this. Like I've been around for a very long time. A lot of people know me, and probably your favorite wrestler likes me as a wrestler.
you
like-
probably worked with them.
So
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, cool, you want to make fun of me? That's funny, because the one time I was walking in the back and I saw John Moxley after I wrestled Mox, and Moxley talked to me, and then he pulled Tony Khan to the side and he's like, "Tony Khan, you fucking need this guy right now." Like,
Oh.
Yeah.
you really think username 3585 is gonna really affect me because you said I wasn't a good wrestler? I don't give a flying fuck, and I never will.
Yeah.
The only thing
you've
that will
seen-
bother me ever is if you say something about my family, and then I'll just beat the fuck out of you. Like,
There
as
you
simple
go.
as that.
Yeah,
You
you
can say whatever you want
don't
about me.
do that.
I don't care. You can say whatever you want. Just never bring my family into anything, because they're not part of me wrestling.
Yeah.
You mentioned how long you've been doing this. I mean, you've wrestled a crazy amount of talent over the years. Anything from Microman to Schlack to Pentagon, Jungle Boy,
Microman.
PCO, fucking Tommy Dreamer way back in the day. And in wrestling, we think about rivalries. You know what I mean? Just throughout the years. Who would you say over the course of your career has been your biggest rival?
I would say there'd be 2 people. Like one person's gonna be like a person everybody knows, and then another guy's like that more people should know about. The guy that everybody knows is probably Janela. I wrestled Joey a lot of times, and I'm really bummed that we never got to travel to have our matches, because we had some really good matches over the years, and I'm always thankful for the opportunities he helped me get. So he's always looked out for me, which I greatly appreciated. And then the guy that not everybody knows, you could look up all our matches on YouTube, but it's Unbreakable Andy Harner.
Okay.
Because of him is one of the reasons why him and I I busted out like crazy back in 2015, because we used to always wrestle literally in bumfuck Pennsylvania, that 20 people, 30 people, and we would just do the wildest stuff. And I remember the one time I was at the NGI, King of the Death Match. It was right before NGI. So the first King of the Death Match one of the first King of Death matches in 2015. First, I don't know. I keep saying first, probably because it was segued into something that's the first. But 2015 King of the Death Match, I went there because I graduated college, and I was pretty much like, I don't want to really wrestle anymore because I'm wrestling the worst places. I'm not making any money, and we encountered Matt Tremont, and my one buddy was saying to Tremont, like, "Hey, Tremont, Tony's a wrestler," because we were all shooting the shit, drinking. It's like, "Oh, send me your stuff," and I've heard that so many times, from people, and then they never responded to me. So I was like, I don't give a shit. Fast forward to the first NGI, Matt is sitting there with Loudy from On Point Wrestling. It's like, "Yo," my buddy's like, "Yo, Loudy, this guy's a wrestler." He's like, "Well, send me your stuff." And once again, I heard it all the time, so I never responded.
Oh no.
And so I don't know who sent it to Tremont and them, But they messaged me and they're like, "Oh, I saw this match with you and Andy Harner. Like, you guys went crazy in front of no one." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what we do." They're like, "Do you want to do this at On Point Match of the Mat 2015?" I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, yeah. And literally after that, it just kept rising. And I think I wrestled Andy like 4 straight shows at On Point because like we just kept like we never did the same stuff. We never had the same matches. Always the wildest stuff we could think of. And he's the type of guy that more people should know about. And like everyone talks about, oh, so and so should get their flowers, but Andy is the type of guy that needs his flowers. Like either one really good run or like somehow makes a lot of money for like 1 year, something like that. Like he truly brings out the best in me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's incredible.
So when you decided to get into wrestling, was there anybody that you would see on TV that you watched on TV that kind of inspired you to get into wrestling, and then or maybe that same person or somebody else that you wanted to pattern yourself after and kind of model yourself after?
I wouldn't say it made me want to become a wrestler because I was very young when this guy, like, he was my guy and he will always be my guy. But it's Dean Malenko.
Oh, I like that. That's
like,
good.
Fucking straight up. When I was growing up, I don't know what it was about him. And I'm not saying that because I'm a wrestler's wrestler now, but even growing up, I was like, Dean Malenko is the best wrestler because like I was always told that I was never gonna be tall and I was always told I was never gonna be big, like from the get-go. Like when I was in 7th grade, I think I weighed like 50 pounds, if that. Like I was never big. I could never put on weight. And just fucking Dean Malenko. And like at first when I was wrestling, for sure, I just wanted to do cool stuff and wrestle. I didn't care about having a personality or any of that stuff. It's pretty much emulating Dean Malenko. And then I just crossed like hybrid of like Bob Backlund's personality and still wanted to do like Dean Malenko stuff, like being that type of technician. I wanted to be a technical wrestler. I never wanted to do anything cooler. Like I can do a lot of flashy stuff. Like I can do flips and stuff. I just don't like it. I just truly don't like it. And I like if I need to, I'll bust it out. But like it's always been Dean Malenko. And like a little side story about that. Me, oh man, this is like my most embarrassing moment of wrestling ever.
Oh boy. So,
it's probably not embarrassing you, but to me, I'm just like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking punch myself in the mouth. But I've always done a lot of AEW dark work, and I used to go down to Orlando and do a lot of stuff there too. And I met Dean Malenko agent at one of my matches before, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world, blah 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 blah. And then I started doing Ring of Honor tapings with AEW stuff like that. And I walked up, myself, Dean was like, hey Dean, I'm Tony. Despite I've met him multiple times, but he's met so many people, like.
Right.
And he's never like, even when he's my agent, he didn't really say much to me. So like I was like, he don't remember me. And I was like, hey Dean, I'm Tony. He goes, Tony, I know who you are. And I was just like,
wow.
Oh, hey, I got so embarrassed in front of my favorite wrestler.
It's better than him having no idea who you are, though.
I would have rathered that at that point.
I don't know, man. He knows you. There you go, man.
Because I called him out and like, oh, you don't know who I am, man. Basically, and just like, no, I know who you are, dude. Like it was like I was humbled real quick there.
Yeah.
You mentioned Dean Malenko. A little bit of a side note here. I was just watching on Peacock a couple weeks ago. I was watching, I think it was Slamboree 96, and he had a great match there with Brad Armstrong, and it just made me think. You talking about just made me think about that match, and just you want to talk underrated.
Dude, he's so good, and like, but like, then that runs into I know if Dax Harwood from FTR would ever hear this, he'd hate me for life, but fuck Bret Hart because he said he hated Dean Malenko as a wrestler.
Wow.
I'll forever, crazy. Ever since I heard that, I was just like, dude, like, come on, Bret. Because like when I was watching WWF at the time, because I had my guy on WWF and I had my guy on WCW, and after like, and Bret was always my guy, him and Owen. And then I heard him say that years down, like just a couple years ago, and I was just like, oh man, you're making me rethink you, Bret.
He's bitter, man. He's got a lot of bitterness, man.
I love it.
Yeah, just ask Goldberg.
Even Goldberg's like, damn, still shit, dude.
Yeah.
It'll never end.
Oh no.
So thinking about Bret Hart and you talking about how you wanted to be Dean Malenko. You wrestle a style that is, pretty different than what you see on a lot of independent shows. Your matches tend to go longer than most. I mean, you've wrestled Nick Gage multiple times, like 25 minutes. You wrestled Jordan Oliver a couple years ago, 2 hours. Which is insane.
Oh my god!
Did you need oxygen at the end?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I was fine.
What match in your career is like the most difficult stylistically for you? Is there any one particular match where you're like, man, me and this guy was just so hard to work around?
Oh, dude, there's a lot of fucking people like that. In wrestling, there are people that you click with instantly. You have great chemistry with, and there are people instantly like, I don't want to fucking wrestle this person. I have no desire to wrestle this person. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is like, since I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've had some recognition over the years, I will get brought into smaller companies, or even when I was doing the gatekeeper stuff at GCW, where I'd wrestle these new kids, I'd be like, well, what do you want to do? And they'd be like, whatever you want to do. And that pisses me off. Like, I check out instantly of the match. I'm like, okay, like, what you want me to plan everything? Yeah. You like, so like, I don't feel like there's a style that is ever complicated for me to do. Like, I feel like my least favorite style would be like a straight up lucha libre match, because like I can do the stuff. I just don't. It's just not me. It never has been. But like, my biggest pet peeve and my most difficult way of wrestling is when somebody says, "What do you want to do? Everything you want to do, I will do." Like, I had that when I was in Italy once, and I said to the guys, like, what do you want to do? He goes, whatever you want to do. I go, what do you do? And he goes, well, just tell me things to do. I go, and like, and anybody that actually knows me, like, I can be a dickhead. Like, I don't mean in a malicious way, but like, I can be a dickhead if I get frustrated. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, you wrestle. I don't know you. You wrestle. What do you do? And then he calmed down. He went and he collected his thoughts, and came back, and he started throwing off ideas. And that was like one of my favorite matches I had in that like 6 or 8 month span. I loved it because he just started throwing out ideas, and I can work off your ideas. I can't work off of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a wrestler and you have spots, and you're wondering like, am I doing it right? Just tell me that you want to do these spots, and I'll tell you if it makes sense. Like, that's what happens when you wrestle somebody that's been doing it for so long. Like, just throw out what you normally do, and if there's something that might be a little bit better somewhere else, then I'll tell you. Like, and these young kids, I wish they would just understand that, like, we're in a different generation where it's not, oh, you listen to the vet and the vet tells you everything. No, tell me what you want to do. I won't say no unless it's like a real stupid bump where I get hurt. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I go to smaller shows, and I'll like, I love giving, like, I do the stupidest shit with these smaller shows, and I'm like, I'll say to guys, I'm like, younger kids, like, you ever do a Canadian Destroyer? Like, no. I was like, we're doing tonight. And they'll learn it. They're like, that's so easy. Or they're like, the one time I wrestled at a small show, and I took a brainbuster on a chair that was open up. Like, so they sat it up and opened up, and I took a brainbuster. And an older wrestler comes up to me, he's like, because before that we were talking about, like, I was like, I don't believe in mailing it in. It's the stupidest thing in the world. And he's like, you really don't mail it in, do you? And I was like, no. I'm like, I'm giving these people a show. Like, you paid for it. Like, it doesn't matter if there's 5,000 or 5 people. We're putting on a good show. And I'm not gonna be like, I get pissed when I look, like, I've been to shows in the past 6-7 months, especially WrestleMania weekend. I saw nobody was at a show, and there's a guy, he was on Impact. I'm not going to mention his name, but he wrestled on a show with me, and he had the worst fucking match because he mailed it in because there's only like 30 or 40 people. Meanwhile, I was doing the wildest shit on the same show. And I was like, there's a reason why I get booked more than you do, and you are on a national recognized company.
Wow.
It's because I bust my ass. And if you're gonna if he would have wrestled me on that show and he would have wanted to mail it in, I'd have like, not a fucking chance, dude.
Nice.
Either you fucking bring it or pack your fucking bags. I don't care. I really don't care because these promoters are wasting their money.
Yeah, I mean, and you commit. I mean, really from the start. You know, in your entrances, you love to take people's head apparel and just toss it. Um, where'd that come from? And what's the most angry somebody's gotten over a hat getting tossed?
So I don't know why. Well, I know I was just fucking with people's stuff all the time. Like people would have
Sure.
drinks, I'd smack it out of their hands and stuff. I'd just grab somebody's hat and threw it. I did it at a local show with this old guy. He had a Trump hat, and like I'm not gonna try to sit here and talk politics,
Sure.
but like he had a Trump hat, and I grabbed it and I looked at it and I fucking launched it across the hall. I was like, "Fuck you, dude!" And like they like gave me the death stare, like, "Oh fuck you!" Like screaming at me. And I was just like I embrace fans wanting to fight me. I truly do. Like,
Yeah, sure.
like I hate seeing people are like, "Oh, those fans need to calm down." No, please, just try it. Because like I get wrestling is predetermined. I really do. However, most of us know how to defend ourselves. It doesn't matter our sizes. We know how to defend ourselves.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta know how to do it for real. If you gotta learn how to do it safely,
Right.
For sure.
I
And
mean,
that-
another guy who loves getting in faces is Mance.
Yeah,
Mance Storm.
that's what I like. I would slap somebody's phone out of the hand because that like I don't want to destroy somebody's freaking phone. Those things are expensive.
That
I had
man
$20.
seems
I
to
don't care.
Man seems to love like fighting with fans or getting into it with fans. Like, is that, does he get legitimately distracted by fans, or is that just him like fucking with people?
He probably gets distracted. To be honest, I've known Mance for many years, so like,
Yeah.
and we. I never want to take credit for anything. I truly never want to do that. But in GCW, like me as a heel, I walked so all the guys that are heels now could run. Because like when I was doing GCW, I was the only person that wanted to be a heel. Like I was the only person doing that. Like here's the most fucked up story ever. The first time I went to Chicago, it was me, Eli Everfly, KTB, and somebody else. I can't remember. It was a 4-way. And stuff's going, or Gringo, I want to say it's Gringo Loco.
Okay.
And we're doing stuff. Match ends. This fan keeps saying, like, "Tony, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. You have a small dick." And I'm like, grab my balls, I'm like, "Fuck you, dude." I'm like, I'll fuck your mom or something. I don't remember. And fucking, he goes, "You don't have any balls to, whatever, to like show me your dick," or something like that. I don't remember. Something on that lines. I hop over the guardrail and I pull my pants a little bit down. I get ready to pull my balls out and I stand on his chair to get like just to pull my balls out, and the chair collapses. And I fall face first and ball first on this guy's face. I looked up and there's a girl right in front of me and I go, "I am so sorry." And she's just laughing. She's like, "That is hilarious."
Oh my god, man.
And I and so like people that might listen to like, "Oh, piece of shit, you're a piece of shit, Tony." But the thing is, I still see that guy to this day, and he still talks about, I thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. Like, it was just a different time and a different type of crowd that we had during those times. Like, would I do that now as a 36-year-old person that works for the United States government? Absolutely not. Especially that people might like come for my head. Like, but like that was just a different time, and like, oh well, like it doesn't make me any less of a person. It just fucking happened.
Yeah, no, that makes you more of a person, I think.
Dennis, what are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking a Broken Skull American Lager.
Oh, yeah, and Tony, I've seen you sipping. What are you sipping on?
Genesee.
Let's go.
My dad's favorite beer.
Is that your favorite like macro beer?
No.
What's your favorite macro beer?
Yingling.
Yingling? Okay.
Yingling. Oh my god.
I own a brewery. It's like 5 minutes from Yingling's brewery. So
yeah, I was gonna ask about it.
I just drink this because this is my dad's favorite beer. Like my dad's still alive, so don't think I'm like drinking his memory. But I went to a Legion's party with my dad this week. My dad's part of he's the Sons of the Legion because my grandfather, his father was in the Korean War, and they were just doing this thing. He's like, I thought it was gonna be like at a bar or something like that. So I walk in. He's like, no, come to this room. And I walk in. It's like a legit room. And I was like, dude, like, this is a hotel room. Why are we like? This is like a college party because like I walk into the bathroom and the bathtub's full of beer, and it's just
Hell
Jenny.
yeah.
It's just all this Jenny. So I was just like, dude, this is a college party. Like, so I was leaving because it's like 3 minutes from my house. I just took like 8 beers, 8 Jennies. I wouldn't buy this stuff on my own until my father passes inevitably, and I will go buy a case of Jenny and I'll slam it in his honor.
There you go.
So what's it like wrestling and balancing owning a brewery? I mean,
It fucking sucks.
That's
Like
a
straight
lot of
up, like
work,
because
man.
like
That's a lot.
on top of that, like we have 2 locations. Then I have a real job as well. I work for the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. I have 2 children. I have a wife. So like I'm balancing all this stuff, and like I don't have a lot of days off. If I'm not wrestling, I'm working at the brewery. If I'm not working the brewery, I'm wrestling. Every so often, like last week I had off because I went to a wedding. So it's just a lot of balancing stuff, and I'm also very thankful that my wife's phenomenal, that she's just like, listen, you got a lot of shit to do, I understand. And she also understands that like it's very stressful, my job, and also owning a business, and trying to keep in shape as well to make sure I'm not like dying in the ring. And like there'll be days that like I'm just exhausted, and it's like, and I'll be like, oh, why don't you, because she works as well, and and she takes care of kids as well, and I'll be like, hey, why don't you go somewhere and just chill and not be with the kids? She's like, no, you need some time to yourself, like, because like I got a bunch of gray hairs now because my job stresses me out, and like I recently found I had
quick.
last week I had or 2 weeks ago I had like extremely high blood pressure because of the stress. So then I had a migraine for like a week and a half straight.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
that sounds amazing, man. That sounds wonderful.
yeah, but I get to like with owning a brewery, like I co-own it with my buddies, and I love beer. I genuinely do. I love, everybody's like, you can't have a hobby that's craft beer. Yes, you can, because like there's a lot of science that goes in it. Like, I talk to my mom, or I talk to my wife about it a lot too, and stuff like that. And I also, like, tomorrow night we're having our fighter entertainment with Speedball Mike Bailey, which is always a phenomenal thing. We cross wrestling into like a no ring show, but we put pads down and have a different theme all the time. So
yeah,
like I can do all that stuff, but like it's fun.
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I saw that. Young Dumb and Broke is on, right? Charlie Tiger and the crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is our 5th one, so like some other, like he's had at some other places, but like I'll be 100% honest, it's not me being biased, but like you can replicate it, but you can't duplicate it, or you can't duplicate it, but you can't replicate it, because like we have a different vibe. Like I love it. Like when the first time we did it, we were really like, I don't know how this is gonna go, because like in Pottsville, it's not a big city. That just generally isn't, and we weren't sure how it was gonna be perceived, and people loved it. So this is our 5th one in the last year. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's something special about like a no ring, no rules sort of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unsanctioned Pro, who you wrestled for like a month ago, Charlie
Yep.
Tiger, my local promotion, just ran a no ring, no rules in a
Was that the
laundromat. Yep.
Yeah. A laundromat / bar.
Yeah, dude. It's
It was right down the street from where
Yep.
Unsanctioned ran, because I was eyeing that place up.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. That little fucking bar, they have like hardcore shows at. And there will be like 100 kids in there just whooping the piss out of each other, and then in the lobby, it's just random people doing laundry.
Sounds like my kind of day.
Yeah, no, absolutely insane.
So I got a question here. So the Tony Deppen, like, if out of any like defunct promotion that's out there, so I'm talking, WCW, ECW, Jim Crockett promotion, Smoky Mountain, is there a promotion that's no longer around that you feel like Tony Deppen could have like really done well in?
If I could put on 50 pounds of like good 50 pounds, not like a blob 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like a Smoky Mountain or USWA or something like that.
There you go. Okay.
Like something where it's like more like character oriented, but like because like I can do a mix, like because a lot of those dudes, they could wrestle, they could go,
Oh yeah.
but they didn't need to.
Right.
Like they could just be the characters, and that's like if you watch a lot of the old stuff, like outside of WWF, if you watch old wrestling, it's really good.
It is.
But WWF was the ones that really like heightened this mindset that's like all like punch choke like that real boring style wrestling that I've never liked. Like watch all the old like my favorite stuff is I watch a lot of 60s and 70s World of Sport wrestlings out from England. I love that shit. Those guys could go, and some like there's a guy Les Kellett. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Les Kellett. The guy had a personality but could wrestle like a motherfucker.
Wow.
Yeah, that dude was an absolute legend. Speaking of legends, I know that you're a big fan of Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome and their whole rivalry through ECW. How did you feel about their match at One Night Stand 2005?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's
like, at that time I was kind of tapped out of WWE. Like I really was tapped out. Like I was just watching independent wrestling.
Sure.
And like the ECW One Night Stand came, so I bought the DVD, and I was like, "Oh my god, these guys are murdering each other!" Because like, I literally would associate high bumps and stiff wrestling with the good match. It could have been dog shit in general, but if they flew over the top rope, I was like, "This is a good match."
Oh, dude, the dive at the end where Mike Awesome just
that they didn't catch on camera,
just goes plummeting from heaven straight to hell, dude.
It's like, what the fuck happened?
It was so awesome because I got to wrestle Masato Tanaka back in 2019 at GCW.
Oh wow!
And
that's
like,
so cool.
I remember when they announced him because I was chilling with Joey in a hotel at another GCW, or no, I was at PWG. I think a PWG show. Yeah. I wrestled it was like either my debut at PWG or a couple shows in PWG, and GCW announced Masato Tanaka, and I was sitting next to him, I was like, "Oh, that's fucking cool, dude." It's like, wonder who they're gonna have wrestle him. And Joey was like, "Who?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "I'm pretty sure it's you." And I got to wrestle him. And my biggest
shit.
Oh, I was so mad about this, but like, I was just like, "Hey," because like it was at the UCC Center in LA, and they have a little stage, and I said to Masato Tanaka, I was like, "Hey, you power bomb me off through a door." No, my shoulder hurts. I was just like, what if I stand on a chair and you come up behind me and do it off the thing? He goes, "Oh, my shoulder, I can't. I was just like, he's like, what if I brain buster you on a door? I was like, okay, whatever. But like, I just recently rewatched a match, and I don't remember feeling that good about the match, but I rewatched it, like, that was actually pretty fucking good. Like, I really like that. I think my biggest complaint about that match was like that GCW show, like it was before Brett implemented time limits on like like in the back, like, "Hey guys, go this long. And like the first half took like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. It was going so long, and I was second half, and like I was just like, dude, this show sucks, like, because it's so long. And I think I went like 16, 17 minutes or something like that, and Brett comes back and he's like, "Tony, you should have been the guy that went that long, like 2025. I was like, "Yeah, I know, I wanted to, but like, you know, like the show's already going so long." And like, despite like, obviously I said the not taking the power bomb was like my biggest like mad about moment, but like this is like, honestly, this might be bigger. I don't remember. It depends on the way you take it. But he goes, "You give me a chair shot, and I'll give you one, and we'll go to the finish." And I was like, "Okay." And like in my mind, I was like, "I'm hitting this motherfucker as hard as I can because I want him. If I'm getting CT, it's from him." And I blasted him as hard as I could, and he took the chair and gave me the softest shot ever. And I was so mad. And I get in the back, and I overheard like, and I can't speak Japanese, but I can understand some bit. And he was talking to Kikutaro, and Kikutaro's like, "Oh, why not hard. And he's like, oh, he's smaller. So I walked up to him. I was like, hey, man, I get, you know, you don't want to hurt me. I really do. I was like, but that's your thing. I was like, oh, next time hit me as hard as you can. And he's just like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And also like, so he does he does a running sliding forearm for his finish. And he told me, he's like, oh, we're gonna do the sliding forearm for the finish. And I was like, oh, okay, so I'll turn my face this way. He goes, oh, no, this way. He's like, trust me. I was like, okay. And he hit me so fucking hard that if I didn't turn my face, I'd be talking with no bottom teeth.
Oh my
He hit me.
God.
I
Oh
was like,
man.
whoa. I saw him like 3 weeks later after that in Japan. He gave me a big hug and stuff. Such a nice dude. Like,
That's
but
so
dude,
cool.
he's a fucking legend. And like
Oh,
Oh,
man.
him
yeah.
versus Mike Awesome, like the fact that I got to wrestle him was like the
Yeah,
coolest.
talk about like feeling like you made it when you get to like work
Yeah.
with someone on that
Like,
level. Damn.
I'd watch that stuff like so every Friday. My parents were divorced. Every Friday, my dad would have me and my brother, and my dad was a very big bowler, and we'd go to a Moose Lodge, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with Moose Lodge, but it's like a members only club. But it has
Yeah, I've got one not too far from where I live.
Yeah. And we'd go there every Friday, and my dad was like a strict bowler, like, and we'd bowl with them. And ECW people would on, we'd watch it, and then we'd like literally, my brother and I would go, like, we're like, you're up. So we'd go and throw the ball down the gutter so we could run back and watch ECW. But my dad was so pissed off at us. He's like, fucking take this serious, dude. Keep your fucking arms straight, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't care about bowling. Like that, like watching Masada Tanaka and Mike Awesome's like was a pivotal thing in my childhood. Like I could tell you that matches over any WWE, WWF matches when I was that age.
Yeah, it's funny how stuff like that connects with you. I mean, I've loved, you know, at least the One Night Stand 05, because I was born in '96. So I mean, that was what, 9. And I can remember watching that match live, and it was like the craziest thing I had ever seen in my life. And literally to this day, I'm like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Dennis, I believe you had a question about Ring of Honor, right?
Yeah, so I before I go to that one though, I wanted to add, or you know what, I'll go to the Ring of Honor. I'll save the other question for a little bit later. So obviously you were there for Ring of Honor, I believe, during the later stages of its existence, at least under Sinclair, and that was also during the time of COVID. Talk about like like when you had to go work a taping or something during COVID, like what was it like what kind of protocols did they have in place? Like what was a typical day going to work for Ring of Honor during COVID like?
Yeah. So for Ring of Honor when it started, or when I started doing it, like before COVID hit, like this was late 2019. They messaged me to like, hey, we want to bring you in. I was gonna be in the Pure Tournament to begin with, like the original Pure Tournament. I was supposed to be in it. And then everything closed up, and I was like, fuck, you know. But like prior to what pissed me off was like prior to that, like before that, they're like, hey, we're gonna have you a couple shows in, and like probably chances are you'll be signed by July, August. And I was like, cool, sweet, that's what I want to hear. And World shuts down. The guy that booked me got canceled, so you probably know who I'm talking about. So I was like, well, after like, especially like when I was before even I even did Ring of Honor, when shows were still going on, Ring of Honor did a free show down in Baltimore, and that's
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's not too far from my house, and I was actually flying home from Chicago, I think, or something like that. And my friends and my wife wanted to go see the show because before I had kids, and I was like, well, how about you guys drop me at the airport and pick me up, and we'll watch the show together. Like I wasn't wrestling, but I was like, I'll just watch the show. And I took a picture and I sent it to Brody King, because I've known him for a couple years at the time. And he's just like, wait, you're here? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm not going to mention his name. I told so-and-so, you know, the booker, he told you to come in the back right now. I was like, okay, cool. So I went in the back, and like, everybody's like super great. I was like, oh, we're stoked to have you here like in the next like 2 months. Like, fuck yeah, it's going to be great. And COVID shuts the world down, and just like, motherfucker. And then Delirious reached out to me in June or July. and asked me if I want to be part of the pure tournament. And it's like, they're like, but it's gonna be very strict, this and that and this and that. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And dude, that was rough. Like when I say we couldn't leave our rooms, I legitimately mean we could not leave our rooms unless we had allocated gym time. Like, okay, Tony, you can go at 6:30, but you got to be out in a half hour. And we had to order DoorDash, and since Sinclair had money, they ensured that the hotel staff would bring us our food. And then we had to leave for say my match was at 11 o'clock. Like there wasn't a time that everybody was there at all. Like, okay, Tony, your match is at 11 o'clock. The shuttle will be there at 9:30, or something like that, to pick you up. Sat in the room with my opponent. We wrestled in front of nobody. Went in the back, got changed, went back to the hotel for a week. And it was exhausting. It really was, but it got a little lax towards the end, which was nice because I became friends with some people and we went out to eat and such. But it was very stressful, but also I enjoyed it, because it was a room. I accumulated a lot of points at Hilton. I think the only thing that I really hated about that first Ring of Honor taping is one of my close childhood friends passed away, and his viewing was that week. And they told us, I was like, I didn't mention it to him at all because they instantly said, if you left, don't bother coming back, because we had to get literally they would send me COVID tests 3 weeks prior to the show. I'm like, okay, take the COVID test, and then I'd get there and they're like, okay, take a COVID test. And before we left, we took a COVID test. So they were very strict. So I had to miss my close friend's viewing because that, and I messaged his mom. I was like, I'm really sorry. I was like, but my job will not let me leave or I'll get fired, basically. And so I think it's Sinclair, so don't let people think that's against Sinclair, but it was literally August after right when COVID, so nobody was they're still unsure.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things I thought about, just, and this popped in my head as you were talking about that, did you, when you were doing those matches in front of nobody, did it kind of really make you appreciate and think about how vital it is to actually be wrestling in front of a crowd, be it 30 people or 3,000? Because that had to have been that had to have taken some time to get used to.
Oh yeah, because you had to be weary on things okay, because sometimes wrestlers talk in the ring and you couldn't because of they would hear you. But there's also pluses. I remember seeing people, they fucked up in a spot and they just go redo, and they would just pause the film and set back up and go into the position and do it again. So there are some benefits. I can happily say that I never had to do a redo, but
Nice.
It happened with some people, and I was just this kind of sucks, but also it's good. I think the worst thing about the no fans, I won the Ring of Honor TV title with nobody there, and I was just hearing that crowd pop would have been the coolest thing to me. That's one thing that I was just thinking to myself, is oh man, but I had Violence Unlimited time, and somebody told me that they didn't know about me winning the title. They're just hey, just so you guys know, you got to go out there after the match. And they're okay. And then I won the match, and all those guys came out and they picked up. I'm so fucking proud of you. And I've known these guys for it was Dickinson, Brody, and Homicide, and I've known them for so long. And I was just dude, that was such a crowning moment. That I wasn't signed. I was never signed. I was that was such a surreal moment of getting that belt. I knew what my matches were going into that week. And and I would talk to my wife about it. I was hey, she's what are you doing at Ring of Honor this week? I was oh, it's this match. And I'm and then I'm wrestling Tracy Williams for the TV title. And she's well, it'll be a good match, but we know you're gonna lose. I was yeah, I'm not signed. And so I won the belt, which leading I was going in and I was I'm not gonna win the belt. I'm not gonna win the belt. And Delirious, who is the booker, breaking kayfabe, I guess, but he's Tony, can you guarantee me the next X amount of shows. Like, yeah. He's like, are you sure? And like, we still had to wear masks, so we couldn't see any faces and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, congratulations, you're up. And I'm just like,
Shit.
whoa. Like, I literally found out 20 minutes before the match. Like, I no shit. Like, I had no idea I was
That's
winning
so
until
cool.
like 20 minutes prior to the match. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm looking around for him. It's like, hey, who do I give the belt to so they can bring it back? You know, yada, yada, yada. And they're like, dude, you take that home. And I was just like, oh. And so, like, I went back to my hotel, and I sprawled it across, and I fucking took a picture and sent it to my wife, and she called me. She's like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, they put the belt on me. And she's like, are you kidding me? That's so crazy. And then, like, I went home, and I put it, like, I just had my son. He was like 4 months old at the time. And there's a picture, like, I put the belt on over my son. I took a picture of him. So, like, my son's held the Ring of Honor title as a little baby.
Aw,
That's
Stuff like that. And
that's
then,
awesome.
like, after, like, it got aired on my birthday, which was cool as shit.
Oh, nice.
But I during the one taping, I was drinking in my room, and I used the Ring of Honor title as a coaster on purpose. I got so much shit from people like, you fucking disrespect. People like tagging like
Hell
Bill Ray
yeah.
and Jim Cornette. They're like, look at how this guy's disrespecting that. And I just like, that's what I wanted. And then I saw a
Yeah.
bunch of wrestlers in the back. Later on, they're like, dude, that was the funniest fucking thing ever. They're like, I can't believe you got so much shit for that.
That's
Oh
incredible.
my god.
You mentioned Violence Unlimited. What's your music taste like? I mean, obviously Brody King, you know, big hardcore guy, vocalist of a band. What do you listen to?
So I listen to a lot of, I listen to a wide range of punk music. Like I like every style of punk. I like hardcore punk. I like, especially 80s hardcore. 80s hardcore punk's one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
I listen to a lot of pop punk, street punk, like emo stuff like that. Like I've always grown up to that scene. I just sort of went last week to see a 80s hardcore band called Negative Approach last week. So
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm 36, but I still jump in the pit and try to ruffle up some people's feathers. But you know, like
That's
that's like what
incredible.
I like. I have always enjoyed it, and having Brody and them do the Violence Unlimited theme was better than the theme that Ring of Honor stuck me. That thing sucked so bad. Fucking hated that theme so much.
When you mentioned in Ring of Honor and you mentioned never getting signed, there was a while there where the fans were chanting the signed Tony Deppen,
And they had the
and
signs too.
yeah, and they had all the signs. What was that like, getting that from the fans too?
I loved it. I truly did. It made me feel like things were going the right way, and I always thought that like things would, like because Ring of Honor told me they're gonna sign me like 3 times. Like people don't realize that. Like they told me that they're like, okay, we're signing this time. They're like, okay, we can. Then they put the belt on me, and they're like, okay, we're gonna sign you in like I think I won the belt in like March, and like come April or May or June because when some contracts are expiring. They're like, we're gonna reach out to you. I was like, that's okay. I can still deal with this. June comes by, and they're like, hey, November, everybody's contracts reset, and that's when we'll start doing business with you. And just never came about, sadly. But seeing all these fans be like that, I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. I was like that. Like I'm a nobody, like to me. And I always think that like, but I like I've always been a realist. I've always like I just wanted to wrestle. I didn't care. I didn't care if I guess I never did. I just wanted to wrestle and I wanted to enjoy myself and just make art. That's all I cared about. And the fact that I saw people like, oh, sign Tone Deppen, I was like, this is wild. However, I know that it ruffled some people's feathers. Like this guy, I'm not gonna say his name now because like if I wasn't friends with him now, I'd probably say his name. But like I became friends with him now since then, and he's doing great in wrestling still. But he was in the back and like it was in Philly for the 2300 arena, and like all these people had to fucking sign Tony Deppen's signs, blah blah blah, chanting like huge pop and everything like that. And then he said he turns to Alex Zane. He's like, I wish people would stop with this sign Tony Deppen bullshit. And he told, and I've known Alex for 20 years, and Alex told me, I was like, cool. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I really don't. Like,
you got that crowd in that arena. I mean, shit, dude. That's awesome, bro.
Like people didn't realize that like, that's my area. I'm like only 2 hours from Philly. Like I did the recent Ring of Honor show in WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and I wasn't really listening to the crowd too much, but I got a massive pop. Sadly, it fell on deaf ears, and I was talking to some people afterwards that were fans, and I was talking to wrestlers as well, and there's like, dude, that pop you got was really big. They're like, did anybody hear that? I was like, I don't think so. Like, I really don't. Like, and then during my match, and I love Rhett and I love Josh Woods. I love those guys to death. They're great people. They're
Mhm.
wrestling. I felt so bad because people were like chanting my name still while they're wrestling. I'm just like, ooh,
Oof.
it's like that's rough for them, but great for me. But sadly, the people who are the people that make the decisions on people getting signed wasn't there or listening.
Mhm.
But you know,
So I got
I don't know what to do.
So I got I think one more wrestling related question. I don't know about these guys, and then I got another a different question. It's not about wrestling. My last wrestling related question I have for you is, obviously you were there for Ring of Honor, working under when it was owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, and then obviously you've done some work for Ring of Honor under the ownership of Tony Khan. Were there any major differences between working for doing a Sinclair Ring of Honor show versus doing a Tony Khan owned Ring of Honor show? Excuse me.
There's a lot of differences, pros and cons for both. I'll set this here. Here's a big difference, and this is props to TK. He actually cares about wrestling. Sinclair did not. Sinclair used it as media for filling hours that they needed something that they didn't have to pay for. Like they could pay less money to pay people to come to wrestle than they could to pay to have the Big Bang Theory on at 2 a.m. Stuff like that. Sinclair's pros, they allowed freedom to people to do things and create legitimate matches and have things going on with everything. I feel like, and this is nothing against TK. This is nothing against anybody that's associated with Ring of Honor that has helped producing it. Everything seems like it's 4 or 5 minutes, and it's just it's a glorified AEW Dark, which is terrible because that's not what Ring of Honor is about.
Absolutely.
I stayed with Ring of Honor because during the 2020 and stuff like that, that's when all the AEW Dark stuff, people would go down there during the pandemic, and people were getting signed left and right. And I had a lot of people reach out to me like, Tony, why don't you go down there? Go down there. You're get your bag. And I was like, no, I believe in Ring of Honor. I believe in what they've given to wrestling. I believe in what they stand for in wrestling. And there's nothing against AEW because I love their product too. I was like, but I want to be with Ring of Honor. I want to be one of the guys that help Ring of Honor succeed. I'm like, that is what I want. So and I don't know, if I would have went down to it, would I have been signed? I don't know. I really don't. I don't. But now seeing Ring of Honor, and it's just okay, well, this happens, and it's glorified squash matches sometimes, and it just bothers me because that's what I grew up watching Ring of Honor. I love it. I love wrestling, and I want more people to get paid and make money off of wrestling and have a living and be able to support their families. And having Ring of Honor be sometimes squash matches, sometimes a really good match, it hurts the product. Because if I tune in out of nowhere and see a squash match chance, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna keep continuously watching the product. And I hope for the best, and I still work with them occasionally. I want to do more. I would love to do more. I want for fuck's sakes, I want one fucking match at Ring of Honor where they just go, Tony, let fucking loose. Because every time
you're not the only one who wants that.
Yeah.
Don't even get me fucking started on that.
Shit.
I fucking literally every time I've wrestled Ring of Honor, and this is nothing against anybody else. I remember the one time I wrestled Brian Cage, and I'm gonna tell you, I fucking love Brian Cage. That dude will legitimately like help you get signed by just saying like you get all your shit in. That's why he's Mr. Get My Shit In.
Yep.
And we were doing Ring of Honor, and we had like 10 minutes. It was down in Orlando. They come to us like, hey guys. Actually, I've wrestled him both, like AEW Dark and Ring of Honor, and both fucking times we had all this cool plan. And then people were like, hey man, people in overtime, you gotta cut your shit. And Brian looks at him, he's like, Tony, I'm not gonna cut any of your stuff. And he's like, I'll cut my stuff. Like, great guy. But I wanted time. Like, it also happened once with Kyle Fletcher. Everybody went over their time. They're like, Tony, you and Kyle need to cut some stuff out. Okay. Guess we will. Like, I'm not gonna say no, like that you're the boss. Like, but I just want one fucking match where they give me the opportunity to do what I do best. Like I want that, and I like one opportunity. Like if I fuck up, I fuck up. Don't bring it back. I don't get. I want it, and I get really irritated when I'm at shows and I hear these wrestlers complain about, oh, I had to go 12 minutes tonight. Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you're making a living off this, and you're living a dream, dude.
Yep.
Like, enjoy it, embrace it. Be thankful for the position you're put in your life. Like, because there are a lot of people that would kill for the position you're in. Like, and I have then I'll reverse it around. Then I'll have guys that like they want to wrestle, and then they don't get put on the show. Like, I fucking love Kip Sabian. Like, and he's been injured a bunch, and he's just like, Tony, I just want to wrestle, but every time something happens, I get hurt. I hate it. And I feel bad for the dude. And I was like, well, I'm like, if you want to start working small indies, I'm like, because he lives in Pennsylvania, I was like, hit me up, dude. I'm like, I'm like, we'll get you some rust off. You know, like, I love that dude. He's such a good dude. Like, he lives near my my wife's aunt, and he's like, oh, if you're ever there, he's like, hit me up, because like my wife loves Olivia, or Penelope. I'm so used to calling her by everyone, but Penelope, and like they love each other, and like I love Kip, and there's like, oh, just come down if you're ever down the air, we'll all hang out. Like, just they're good people. So I want there's the people I see that want it bad, and they don't get it, like because like just unforeseen circumstance, like injury. It's like, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like, he was injured last year for Wembley, and he was telling me, Tony, he's like, he's an Englishman. I was just talking recently, and he's just like, this year, man. He's like, I really, 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 really. He's like, I just don't care what if it's dark match there or like main card. He's like, I need to be on Wembley. He's like, my dad's 70th birthday is the day that Wembley's going on. And he's like, and my dad would die to see me do that. And I was like, oh man, like, and he's such a good dude. I'm like, I hope you get that dream. Like, I want people to get their dreams. Like, I don't care how far fetched it is, but like, I want you to get that. I want you to feel that sense of accomplishment. And if you're a wrestler and you're looking at other people that you don't want them to have that form of like enjoyment in life, then dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, fuck you. Like, this is a tank. This is a fucking dance. Like, wrestling is a dance, and everybody around you succeeds when you do the right moves.
Wow.
Yeah. Isaac, do you have anything else?
I mean, I just my only other question is what is your least favorite thing to do in the gym that you find yourself having to do to
Cardio.
Get it? Yeah. Any of it?
I hate running,
too.
and I hate Stairmasters, and I hate bicycles. Like, I hate it. I hate it like so much. But like, I've recently had like doing a lot more cardio though, which sucks. And I've been like pushing off weights because my blood pressure went through the roof. And thankfully I have a lot of nurse friends. And like, your pulse is great. You just have high blood pressure, so it's not really bad. Like, just start, getting your heart in rhythm again. And they're like, your blood pressure so slowly drop. I was like, okay, cool, sounds good.
Yeah.
But like, I'm doing a lot of cardio, but I'm doing weight training cardio. So it's like, I still hate it, but
what are you doing for that? What's your least favorite one of those for weight training cardio?
I do a lot. Like, I'll hold like 2 20-pound kettlebells, and I'll do high steps, and they're not very low. Like, I'm stepping up pretty high. I should probably lower it down because it's probably ruin my knees one day. But I'm just like, I'm the type of person, like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to commit to it 100%.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna like, this sucks, but I'm gonna do it. Like, that's probably my least favorite. And all the other stuff is just like kettle swings, and that stuff's easy to me. But like, I just like I don't like I hate leg workouts in general. Like they fucking suck. I do them, but I hate
Yes.
them so much.
Oh, they hurt so much.
When I was young,
nothing drains you like leg day.
when I was 17, I literally would do legs like 2-3 times a week, and I had massive legs when I was like 17. And then I was fucking around in the mat room, and I just started wrestling, and I learned to do kip ups, and I did one, and I blew my meniscus.
Oh no!
So after
Yeah.
that, I was just like, oh, I got really terrified of ever doing anything with my legs again, and I
Yeah,
still do them, but like I'm very, very tame.
The one that always gets me is the incline fucking curl just destroys me.
I don't mind that type
time.
of stuff. I really don't. It's just like it. I just hate. I mainly hate squats.
Yes. Oh man.
And I'm like, I don't want to bend down. I think it's my age. My age is showing. I think that's all that is. I'm like,
and your knee. Hey man, with the knees, it doesn't help either.
I have
so.
surprisingly have good knees for wrestling for 18 years.
Good for you.
So,
yeah, not gonna keep that up.
Dennis, you had one more non-wrestling question, right?
Yeah. So, obviously, you being from the Philadelphia area, I'm assuming you're a baseball guy, correct?
Yep.
So, I'm assuming Phillies. Or you got another?
Hold on
team?
1 second.
Okay.
Oh, I think my wife took it into the fucking. Damn it!
Oh.
I had a shirt. Hold on, maybe it's right here. Yes. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I gotta put my phone down.
Okay.
Oh, this is a big reveal, man. The tension is killing me right now.
Drum roll here, like.
I know. I feel the suspense. Oh, okay.
I'm a Pirates fan.
All right.
I've been a Pirates fan my entire life.
Okay.
Nice, man.
I've sat through the worst of the worst.
Yeah, I feel that worst of the worst. I've been an Oakland A's fan my whole life. Now I don't know what to do, man. They're taking my team away.
And he's an Oakland A's fan. I'm actually about 45 minutes west of Chicago, but I'm actually a Milwaukee Brewers fan.
Oh.
Brutal. So being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, what are your thoughts on Paul Skeens and him starting the All-Star game just to start off his career?
Oh, I love it, and it's like now. Sadly, his ass will be fucking gone in like a year and a half, 2 years, because that's what the Pirates do. That's what fucking Bob Nutting does. He sends all the good talent away. But I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. Like what sucks, they had the most inconsistent team ever. Like I think they're like 7-3 in the past 10 games or some crap like that. They're doing really well. And then the next thing I know, they'll go on a 10-game losing streak.
Yep.
Sounds like Reds.
Sat through the worst of the worst. Like I went to the back in 2013. I went to the first ever playoff game at PNC Park. So like that was the coolest fucking thing in the world, because I told myself, because I was a lifelong Pirates fan, like when they did really well in 2012 and they had a complete, I think they finished after the All-Star break, they went like 8-73 or something like that.
Oh,
they had such a terrible, like it was the worst collapse ever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, okay, maybe next year they'll finish 500, because that's all I was looking for. I was like, if they ever make the playoffs, I'm gonna be at the first game at PNC Park. And they made the playoffs. I skipped my class in college to make sure I went to buy tickets, and they ended up selling out. I was like, oh man, I guess I'm doing second market, which I never do. And I bought real shitty seats for like $50, and fucking weeks go on, never see the tickets. Day of the game comes, never see the tickets. And somebody calls me like 6 hours before the game from a number I didn't recognize, like, is this Tony? I was like, yeah, what's up? Like, this is whatever. He's like, I was the guy that you bought the tickets off of. He's like, I've been trying to reach you. I was like, well, I didn't hear anything. He's like, I got to tell you, he's like, I accidentally sold your tickets.
Oh, no.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? And he's like, no. He's like, dude, I got out, like, I bought nosebleed seats. He's like, no, I got outfield tickets still available. I go, I can't afford those. And he goes, no, what you paid for the nosebleed, you're getting outfield tickets.
Oh, wow.
So I jumped in my car and drove 5 hours as quick as I could. I rolled up to PNC Park there. The Clemente Bridge was littered with so much beer. It was the greatest game I've ever been to. Like,
That's
That was
awesome.
when they destroyed the Reds.
What a beautiful
that sounds
beautiful park
likely.
too.
It is. I've seen pictures of
It's
it.
the
It's
best
just-
park ever, and I'm completely biased.
That's fine. I mean,
I
honestly,
say the same thing about American Family Field, and I'm completely biased there.
the view from behind home plate out towards center field is pretty spectacular there.
I sat everywhere at PNC Park. There hasn't been a spot because there was one summer that I'd work like 6 days a week, and I'd make sure the one day a week I had off the Pirates were home, and I would drive out to a Pirates game every week.
Mhm.
So
That's
I sat
awesome.
everywhere, and every spot in that stadium is beautiful.
Awesome.
I would love to get out there and stuff. So I'm actually going to see the Brewers. They're coming back for first home game since the All-Star break on Friday, and I'm actually taking one of my best friends up there, and it'll be his first time up to American Family. So
I saw the Brewers play the Cubs in Wrigley because I went to Wrigley once, but other than that,
Another beautiful field.
that field sucks, dude.
No, yeah.
I fucking hated that fucking stadium. It's such a dump.
I love that old.
It's Wrigley, it's Wrigley, but it's a dump.
That's what I love about Fenway, man, because it's also a dump, and you can sit behind a pole.
Yep.
But at the same time, you're like, fuck, man, Babe Ruth. Fucking.
I went to Fenway for my
home plate.
for my bachelor party, and I always think it's like the coolest things. Like, so my wife, her great uncle he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and
wow,
he pitched from 1916 to 1932 or something like that. So he pitched in Fenway. He pitched against Murderers Row. He won 2 World Series titles and stuff like that.
That's
so
cool.
Cool. I'm a super big baseball fan, and she's not really. And when I got with her, I was like, "Your relative is Stanley Kovalevsky, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's like my great uncle or something like that." I was like, so we found out for sure who it was, and then like, it used to be out in South Bend. They used to have the Steelhawks. That used to be Stanley Kovalevsky Field. Now it's Four Winds Field, or a Stanley Kovalevsky at Four Winds Field Stadium or something like that. So, but we visited that when her and I went to Wrigley just because it's her family.
Right. Who's your all-time favorite player?
I think because of like if I'd have to go all time like that I like never got to like watch, it'd be like Clemente.
Okay.
But like guys that I watched, dude, I was a big Frank Thomas fan.
I love
Big Hurt.
Frank Thomas. Yeah,
like,
he's one of my favorites.
Frank Thomas's Big Hurt for the Super Nintendo was like one of my favorite games. Like, and my brother was a big Ken Griffey fan. Ken Griffey.
That's
Jr.
another one of my favorites.
I was the Frank Thomas guy.
I was always Ricky and Canseco, man. Those are my two guys.
Him or McCutcheon. I love McCutcheon.
Oh yeah,
Andrew McCutcheon. Yeah, he's one of my current faves.
I've always been a McCutcheon fan. Like, just fucking love that guy. Like, so good. And like, I wish he got one World Series ring, but never gonna happen unless somehow the Pirates go on a crazy streak. Like, they're over 500, and they're like 2 games outside of the wild card. So.
Yeah,
crazier things have happened.
I actually have the standings up right now because I was looking up your thing about their last 10. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're 2 over 500. There's 7 back of Milwaukee in the Central, and then wild card wise, they're actually only a game out of the last wild card spot right now.
Because they picked one up from the Cardinals today.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Cool.
Getting exciting.
Fucking loan out. They make the World Series.
I
will.
Nothing's like playoff games, man. It's the best. It's an incredible atmosphere.
That Cincinnati Pirates playoff game, the wild card game in 2013, is the greatest atmosphere that's ever been existing in a baseball game ever. Yeah. Like I don't rewatch baseball games, but I rewatch it every year. It's so fucking good. Like I thought we were chanting Johnny Cueto's name for like an hour straight.
It's so
like
cool.
I remember that game. Like my memory is pretty good, but like I'm so vivid with that. Things like Marlon Byrd comes up to the plate. Marlon Byrd smokes a home run. Crowd goes nuts because like the 3rd inning or something like that. Somebody else comes up, and then Russell Martin comes up, and they're chanting Cueto's name. Cueto drops the ball. Everybody erupts. They keep chanting Cueto's name. The first pitch he pitches, Russell Martin hits the ball. It landed like 10 yards from where I was sitting. and they just erupt, and they're like, for the entire game, just chant Johnny Cueto's name. Dude, they didn't. If PNC Park was like that every playoff game, they would have went to the World Series, because you couldn't beat anybody at that game if that's the way they were there. But sadly, that's not. They were just that hype because it was the first playoff game ever in PNC Park and the first playoff game for Pittsburgh in 20 years.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've got one more baseball question and one
That's
more
fine.
wrestling question, and then we can take it home, boys. Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Works. Go for it, Shane.
Tony Deppen, what's your snacks or meal at the baseball game look like? What's your your go-tos?
Definitely beer. I love
Okay.
a good beer at a
Of
game.
Of course. Yeah.
You getting
I-
a souvenir cup, or you getting just the regular?
My wife's big in the souvenir cups. We went to the fucking, oh my god.
We have to get the souvenir
So we went
cup,
to the
right?
Wrigley. We went to Wrigley in 2015, and like, she's a big souvenir cup person too. We got one. This fucker literally went to the bathroom, and she comes back with 16 cups. When we went to Wrigley and you took all the souvenir cups, she's like, everyone just left them there. I took all these souvenirs. Like, we have one. She's like, I don't care. And she also found a Cubs helmet thing that had nachos in it. So she got that too.
Oh, yes, the nacho hat.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So she took all of those souvenir cups. That's like ridiculous. But
Hey,
like, if I food wise, I'd probably go with hamburgers.
Nothing
French
hits like
fries.
Kool-Aid in a souvenir cup, man.
Yeah,
No,
like,
you know what you need, and this is my favorite thing to get. And my when we went up to American Family for my nephew's bachelor party last year, get a beer bat. Those are the thing.
I want to get one of those.
I've got two Brewers ones. Now I'm to my left of where I'm sitting at and stuff. And my nephew had like I think he had his bachelor party. He had like 4 of them, and he was so gone by that time. I told his one of his friends who was his best man at his wedding, I was like, you need to stay with him, because he couldn't even stand. Like,
I want to try one of those one day. Here, look at my wife for a hot second. I gotta take a piss.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Oh
Hello.
my god, hello. What's it
Hello.
like being married to this guy?
It's unique. It's fun.
Unique and fun. You
Busy.
put up with a lot of time away from each other. That's rough.
Can
Oh,
you
no.
tell us about getting 18 souvenir cups at
and the nacho helmet.
Listen,
Yeah.
I will go pull them all out of the cabinet right now. Don't. talk
We
to me about
believe
it.
you. We believe you. Was it? I mean, I get it. I like having cups around. I drink a lot of water and shit, so it's good to have them around.
Can't say that I actually use them, but I was like, in the moment, I need these. Remember, we were also there for like the
She
did you
gets
say it was the 100th year anniversary? Like, that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
commemorative.
That's
like, free is free.
Yeah.
There's
If
no
it's free,
better
it's for
deal.
me.
it's not a souvenir if you don't take it home.
That's right. Good answer. I like
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I
just-
don't think you guys
it's
hear me
just
pee.
the
I don't think
cup.
that'd make good podcast material.
Actually,
Tony,
true,
Yeah,
true
go,
story.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ice.
I was gonna say, yeah.
We were we interviewed Just Incredible, and he took a shit in the middle of the interview.
I pants down in the bathroom. It was the most insane thing I've literally
I wasn't a part
ever
of that,
seen.
but when these guys told me about that,
One of
I
one of my
lost. I was so
favorite
hysterical.
interview
Christ.
moments.
Favorite moments ever.
Oh man.
Hey, at least he showed up for the interview. you know?
Yeah. So I guess my last question, and then plug whatever you want, Tony. We'll get out of here. Is you've been going for how many years now?
18 almost.
18. And there's hopefully many, many great years to come. But if you're booking your own retirement match, what's that look like? Who's it against? What company? Is there a stipulation? I mean,
Ooh, that's tough. Oh my god, that's really difficult because I never thought of it. I feel like one day I'd just be like, stop wrestling. They're asking me like who I'd retire against wrestling wise. If I had an opportunity, I'd probably do it with Andy Harner, Unbreakable Andy Harner.
okay.
Like legitimately, like, because I would just have like the wildest fucking match in the world, and I would show people like I'm not leaving wrestling because like I can't go anymore.
Mhm.
Like, because like I go back and watch those matches, like they're all on YouTube, like they're music video forms too, and most of them are in front of nobody. And like we're doing Canadian stories off the top rope, and like
Ooh,
like I remember like the one time I it was the only time, first and only time my mom ever came to see me wrestle, and I took a double underhook pile driver. This is 2012. I took a double underhook pile driver on the apron, and then I did a suicide dive, and they had a guardrails, and I overshot Andy a little bit, and like I bumped on top of it and bounced off it to the outside over the apron. And my mom walks up to me after, she's like, "Yeah, never again." I was like, "Okay." So like, I've always done wild stuff, and he brings out the best in me. Like I think it'd be Andy Harner, to be honest. But like, and I've been trying to get him at GCW for so long, and Brett wants him at GCW so bad, but getting this guy out of his little hut is entirely possible. And I'm just like, come on, Andy. And like, I talked to his wife, and I'm like, yo, he can make some real money. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I make this much. And she's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay.
Get him
So
out
I'm hoping,
there.
like, I hope he does one run, because like, he has such a creative mind for wrestling, and I would just love to do like a wild ass match in front of everybody, like, because we've done some wild shit. Like I've never had a bad match with him, like, ever. And I've wrestled him probably like 8 or 9 times, I think.
Okay.
Give or take. Maybe more, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, if that match happens, I hope it happens at Valleydale Ballroom, Columbus, Ohio. Because I would sure love to be there.
Ideally, I would love for like if I messaged Brett and be like, hey, I'm gonna be done wrestling. I was like, can you just give me like one last loop of all of our main areas we do? Like, can I just do all of them with you guys? Because obviously I haven't been on the last few GCW shows. I really don't know what's going on. I don't have any heat from GCW. I don't have any heat with anybody in the locker room. It's just like they're doing different things right now, and I get that. I'm doing my own thing wrestling wise, and I'm also trying to take care of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally, because I did break my arm last year, and that really fucked me up, like mentally. Like it put a lot of halt on my momentum in life, and like really it pushed me back a couple years, like mentally, and I needed to get better. Like for those first like 2-3 weeks after I broke my arm, like I was drinking myself into oblivion, and I just woke up one day, I was like, I have kids, I can't be doing this. So like I kind of got myself in a little bit better shape, but then like I got my job, and then like my job was very stressful, and that led to some mental things and some other things, and it's like, okay, fucking like just I'm back on track, thankfully. But like,
That's good.
and I have some GCW shows in the next couple months, so like I'm still doing stuff with them. But I would like to, like, I hate seeing not all the shows and not being on it, and I also hate seeing my friends get hurt. Like Cole Radrick just got hurt, Jordan Oliver's got hurt, and those are 2 young kids that I think the world of. They're great fucking people, and I hate to see that they got hurt. But I can empathize with getting hurt, because it just happened to me, and it was literally the worst and darkest time of my life. And I've gone through some shitty things, but that was like, I've been wrestling for so long, and I was just like, fuck, this is all I've ever done, and I don't know what to do. Like but then like, so silver lining and everything. I got to see my daughter's first steps, and I got to see my kids grow up a little bit more, which was nice.
That's awesome.
Because I missed my son's first steps because of wrestling. So I was in Atlanta, Georgia, wrestling ACH. It's weird how you remember that, and that was 3 years ago. I remember the funniest thing. I remember leaving that day to go to the airport, and I said to my son, I'm like, your ass needs to start walking soon, buddy. Like you're past due. I get a fucking Snapchat. Thankfully, Snapchat and I exist. And my wife and my mom sent me, because my mom was at the time, my mom and them sent me a video of him taking his first steps. Like, oh,
that's awesome.
I was like, but I still missed it. Like, but that's what comes with the territory of wrestling. People understand that. Like, that is a very big thing. You miss a lot of things. I'm just grateful that I have a phenomenal wife that allowed me to chase these dreams, and she was one that pushed me to pursue them, because I was getting ready to stop wrestling.
And that's why you let her bring home 16 souvenir cups
and a nacho helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she's still like, we went to WrestleMania in New Orleans a couple years in 2018, and she was finding as many souvenir cups as she could. If she could have got down and stole one of those souvenir chairs, she probably would have.
Hey, listen.
Oh man,
Those,
that's
you gotta get the
awesome.
souvenir chair.
100%. Aubrey told me that's what he did.
All right. Well, I think we've taken up plenty of your time. We want to thank you for spending some time
Yeah.
with us. This was phenomenal and
Oh, no.
stuff. So before we hit our end video here, go ahead and promote whatever you want. Like, how can people get in contact with you? Can people go online to buy your merch?
So I stopped doing online merch for a while just because it's such a, I'm so busy. I can't send out in an appropriate time, and like it bothers me, and I don't want to do that to somebody.
Right.
Like I don't want to feel like they're being gypped. Like, so like I can't, I don't have the time, sadly. You know, like that's one thing. But like if you always see me at shows, I carry merchandise on me and stuff like that. But I just don't want to. Like I'm a firm believer in always just being good to people. Like it's
Right.
like the way my family's raised me, and it's the way I just believe in living my life. So I never want to have somebody buy something off me and they can't get it because I'm too busy. Like I don't want to be that person. Like I know wrestlers tell me, they're like, Tony, that's kind of lazy because, you know, that's how you make a lot of money. It's like, yeah, I get that, but also you don't have 2 kids and you don't have 2 businesses and a real job.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you got three jobs, 2 kids, and a wife, man.
Yeah, and
that's-
like I try to
that's
make
more
sure that
than
I'm there
enough.
for everything I have to be. But Twitter wise, you could follow me on Twitter, or it's always gonna be Twitter to me. It's never gonna be X.
Right.
Like it's always
Sure.
Twitter. But it'll be Tony _Deppen, and then we've got where's my hairless cat?
Oh my
look at
goodness.
that thing.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Hell,
But then I have my Instagram, which is Deppen. I have my Facebook, but don't add me because I literally pretty much only add people I know. Like it's more or less for family things. Like my
Sure.
mom can see my kids and my dad can see my kids and my
Understandable.
brothers.
or if you have to
my
put
dad.
people in line on Deathmatch Elite.
Also, like you can follow my breweries page, a Pilgaroo on Instagram. Greatly appreciate the follows because we like the traction and the all that other fun stuff. And like if you like wrestling and you're like 45 minutes outside of Allentown, we always do our fightertainments, which, you know, we have the X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey that holds them, and they're fucking the most insane things you'll ever see in wrestling. Like last time we had a tournament of breath, which everything was inflatable objects.
No.
Oh, that's cool. So
That sounds fun.
all right. Well, hey, Tony, once again, thank you so much. We hope that everybody who's I know I learned a lot of neat things about you. I hope everybody that's gonna watch this does the same thing. And we will see you next week, guys. Thanks so much. And Tony, thanks again for joining us. Hang out for a little bit. Here we're gonna play our end video, and we'll go from there.
Not a problem. I had a blast. Like I've said to a lot of people that do podcasts, I hate dumbass questions that are so like normalized in the wrestling thing, and I enjoyed that. Like you gave me questions that I was able to, like, I could answer, but I also had a backstory to it. Like I could talk about like everything I've done in wrestling for a very long time because I've been doing it for so long. And I have so many stories and so many enjoyable moments that like you're like, oh, you said like about Ring of Honor, and I could easily backtrack to things that happened in Ring of Honor that nobody knows. Like not many people knew that I never knew I wasn't going to win the title. Like there's a lot of things people didn't know, and and there are things I didn't know until I knew it. And I tell people, I'm like, really, you never knew that? It's like, yeah. And like that's wrestling. That is wrestling. Wrestling is a surprise and a beautiful thing. And it's the greatest fucking sport that's ever existed. And anybody else, well, baseball, yeah. But you know, anybody wants to talk shit on wrestling because it's not the way that they envision it. I got a great fucking thing to say to you. You can go fuck yourself because it is a form of art, and all art is subjective. So, thank you for having me. And if you don't like me because of any other reason, go fuck yourself.
Hell yeah.
Hell
and on that note, Oh
Go
yeah,
fuck yourself, Isaac.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, all the time.
I love you both, but you know what? Just to keep up with the theme, go fuck yourself.
Yes, please, absolutely.
Legends of the Ring Sting, man. This is a great figure, old school figure. Looks great. It's Sting! Old school Sting from WCW. Guys, you know us, 3/4 of the Shooting Shit team, and we're here with a listener just like you guys. This is Jimmy from Super Powers Comics.
My friend of almost 20 years. He's known him since you were 12.
If you know people in Chicago, you probably know Dennis because he knows half the town, of course. But shooters, if you need action figures, comics, wrestling memorabilia, we just showed you Sting. Superpowers Comics will put up their QR code so you can get a good look at everything they have coming. Give it a shot, shooters. Get your superpowers on and get your comics from our friend Jimmy, who listens just like you.
Attention wrestling fans and fans of Shootin' Shit podcasts. You can now be one of the cool kids by going to ProWrestlingTees.com and buy the official Shootin' Shit t-shirt. Buy it now and be there at ringside.
This episode and all episodes of 5 Star Takes are now available on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@5StarTakes. Be sure to like and subscribe. Get all of your 5 Star Takes news and updates by going to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/SHOOTINSHT. And as always, thanks for watching.